Hi everybody, in today's video I just wanted to list what I feel are the best routes up Snowdon in Wales for views. So let's forget about what's the quickest way to get to the summit, or what's the best route for beginners, or what's the best route for parents with children or dog walkers. We put all of that to one side. What are the best routes up Snowdon purely for the views? Now I know this is highly subjective because what I think is a great view you might disagree with, but this is my list and I'm going to start off with my absolute #1 favourite route up Snowdon for views, and that is of course Goch. Now this route does come with a huge caveat, and that is that it's not a hiking route, it is a scrambling route. Now what that means is that you have to use your hands to pull yourself up over the rocks. And if you have a look at the footage I'm showing you here, there is an unsurvivable steep drop down one side of this knife-edged ridge, and a very steep drop down the other side. Now this ridge is about 150 to 200 meters long. Once you've scrambled across that, and it's not an easy route, I'll be honest, it is quite a challenge. Once you've scrambled across that, you've got then 3 delightful pinnacles to scramble up and over, and once you've done that, there's still yet more scrambling before you can get onto the tourist path, which takes you up for the final push onto the summit of Snowdon. So Goch, as you can see here from the footage I'm showing you, absolutely, in my opinion, offers the best views of all the routes up Snowdon. Hands down my favourite, but the caveat is it's not a hiking route. Now moving on to #2 on my list, I found it really difficult to choose between a couple of the other routes. Now I must say the Watkin Path has just about made it into the #2 spot, simply because there is so much to see on this route. As you come out of the woodland at the start of this route, you're met with this stunning stream and cascades of water over the rock, as you can see in the footage here. This is a perfect place to set up for a little picnic, go for a little swim in the pools of water here, or just to relax before you head off on your journey up on the Watkin Path. And as the path rises next to this delightful stream, you get to see quite a few of these abandoned buildings. Now these are a testament to the history of the area, because Welsh slate was mined here, and this is what these buildings were for. So you do walk past quite a few of these buildings. So if you're interested in a little bit of the history of the area, this is definitely one of the better routes. Also, as you can see here, as the path starts to rise up from the valley, you can see the ruins of the buildings and the huge piles of slate next to them. The path rises up and there is a ridge. Now what a lot of people don't realize is the path runs, I don't know, 30-40 meters off to the side of this ridge, but you can come off the path a little bit and walk up onto the ridge, and you can see the stunning views onto the other side of that ridge down onto the lake. So a lot of people don't actually come off the path, so they don't actually get to see this view onto the other side until they get up to the top of Snowdon. So a little tip for you: when you come onto this ridge, just head right up onto the pinnacle of the ridge and have a look on the other side. You'll be absolutely amazed at the views. The upper section of the Watkin Path is notoriously loose, making this one of the harder routes to the summit, but if you do go up there, you are rewarded by stunning views on the other side across to the Rhyd Ddu Path and also to the Snowdon Ranger Path, before you finally end up on the summit where you've got great views all round. Okay, so #3 on my list is a circular route, and that would be the Pyg track up and the Miners track down, and that's the route that I'm actually on at the moment. If you look over my shoulder, you can probably see the Pyg track behind me and the Miners track down by the lakes. These are stunning routes, as you can see from this photograph here that I took a couple of years ago just after sunrise. You've got the lovely soft light on the mountains here with the lakes beneath. Now as the path on the Pyg track rises, you get an ever higher vantage point of this and another lake, until you get towards the top of the Pyg track and the views look something like this. Absolutely really delightful route, quite rugged on this route as well. A lot of people like the ruggedness on this route. Also, when you come back down, if you come off the Pyg track, you can take a fork down to the Miners track, and that is the path that snakes around the shores of the 2 lakes. It's an fairly easy route once you get onto the Miners track, but you get to look up at Snowdon. So the Pyg track is the higher of the 2 routes, the Miners track is the lower of the 2 routes. They both have the views of the lakes, and in my opinion, this is an absolutely fantastic choice. It's a very popular route. It starts at the Penny Pass car park and finishes at the same place as well. So this one is definitely worth trying if you like those sort of rugged terrain and you like to look down onto those stunning lakes. Definitely a great choice. Another route worth mentioning is the one that I always struggle to pronounce. It's Rhyd Ddu Path. This route is probably the quietest route, or one of the quietest routes up Snowdon. You have this lovely cliff here that you can see me walking across, and the views onto the other side of that cliff are absolutely stunning. Now a little bit further up there is a somewhat exposed ridge that is notorious for catching the wind, a little bit narrow up there as well, and you can see you've got lovely views onto either side of that ridge as well. So worth considering the Rhyd Ddu Path as well, especially if you like a quieter route. Now sandwiched between the Watkin Path and the Rhyd Ddu Path, you have the South Ridge. I would say the views on this are very similar to the Watkin Path, and also very similar to the Rhyd Ddu Path, which also shares part of this route up to Snowdon. This is not a bad route, again, kind of sits in the middle here. Not brilliant, but not terrible either. Now routes that are okay, they make the grade, but they're not the best for the views. Well, I would say that the Snowdon Ranger Path is quite a shallow route, quite a forgiving route. It isn't so rugged. The views do get better, obviously, as you get near the top, but on the way up, I would say it's probably just the shallowness of that route, which just makes the views not quite as dramatic as some of the other routes that I've shown you so far today. Now, if views are the most important thing for you, the route that you probably want to avoid would be the ever popular Llanberis Path. I've also heard this being called the Llanberis motorway before, because you get so many people coming up and down on this path. It is wide, it's a very, very long route. I believe it's one of the longest routes up Snowdon, but it's very, very shallow. It's very forgiving, probably not a route that you want to do in the winter, but outside of winter conditions, it's a very forgiving route. Unfortunately, the first half of this route is up one side of a grassy valley, and that's pretty much the views that you get until the second half of the route, where things do pick up a little bit, and it does get better on the second half. So the first half of this route, I wouldn't call it a damp squid. It's still nice views, just nowhere near as good as many of the other routes on Snowdon. So this would be my least favourite route up Snowdon for the views. So look, that's it. That's just my opinion of all the main sort of tourist routes and Crib Goch up to Snowdon. So obviously everybody's different. We all have different opinions. Those are just my favourite routes. I hope that you've enjoyed this footage and it's given you a little bit of a taste of what you can expect if you do go up any of these routes up Snowdon. So if you've enjoyed this footage, please do hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more content like this from me. Again, all the best.